All right, Celtics Live postgame. Another game that the Celtics go down massive. Massive. They go down like 20-plus points. You think the game's over. You know, all hell is breaking loose in the city. Fans are booing in the Garden. And then come late in the fourth quarter, halfway through the fourth quarter, all of a sudden this surge of, oh my God, they could win this game. They're coming back. Here we go. Rah, rah, rah. Only to be disappointed with another loss. And I've said it before on the streams too. One gripe I have with the Celtics doing this, it's almost like to the person waking up and checking the box score in the morning, they see, oh, okay, so the Celtics, lost to the Mavericks by 5, 113-108, right? But the people like us that stuck through that entire game are ridiculously frustrated because of, the entirety of that game and what we saw. So we'll get into all of it tonight on the live post-game show. I appreciate every single person tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Like this stream. Even though the Celtics lost, we can like this stream. I have a sad, disappointed Celtics lost Guinness tonight that we'll sip on during the stream. So cheers to anyone that's drinking with me. But yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And before we get into the stream, I do want to talk to you a little bit about Manscaped. Guys, with the Celtics losing, it's just more of a reason to clean up your downstairs area and get hygienic, and that might be the reason the Celtics are losing, right? Because some of you guys in the chat just aren't keeping it clean. So head over to manscaped.com, the best tools for the job. I wouldn't trust Manscaped in that area, I would trust Manscaped over anyone else. So head over to manscaped.com, promo code Celtics Live will save 20% off and get you free shipping over there. Let's head over to the box score so we can get to some of the chat, because we know how the chat goes when the Celtics lose, and rightfully so, the chat's buzzing. So let's take a peek at this. Honestly, if you just look at the point totals, right, it's like, oh, well, Tatum had 25, Jalen had 24, Kemba had 22. Like, you're kind of looking for 20 apiece out of these guys, right? That's true, but no one else really did anything. I mean, Marcus Smart, I can give credit where it's due. And I'll say this before we even get into the stream. I kept track on this paper, right? Marcus Smart, I kept his good shots, and this is just my opinion, good shots versus bad shots, right? He was 3 of 6 with his good shot attempts, okay? So 50% in good shot attempts. 0 of 6 in bad shot attempts. I tracked it. Go watch the game if you want to figure out, whether or not you consider something's good or bad. But Marcus Smart in good shot attempts was 50% from the field. In bad shot attempts, and a bunch of them were threes, 0% from the field. But box score, things check out. But honestly, that game, like this box score, looking at Tatum's points, him averaging, 40 from the field, Jalen going 53. You look at the three-point numbers, that's where it all comes down to, and that's where this just fell apart. Jason Tatum, 12% from 3. Kemba, 20. Marcus Smart, 30. They were 11 of 47 from 3. You flip over to the Mavericks, 50% from 3. They only averaged 13 threes a game made. They made 19 tonight out of their 39. Just a frustrating game overall, guys, to be completely honest. Because, again, that was a score that looked close via, end score, right? Final score, that looks close. If you watched that game, the womp womp was on repeat. Not the Grant womp womp, whatever. He was a nobody in this game. Shocker there. But overall, that was a Celtics womp womp game. Let's get into some of the chat. It is flying right now. We're picking up midway through here. Brad saying, so disappointed. Lance saying, amazing game, Grant Williams. Kale saying, John C. Billups for coach, please. Ron saying, everyone on this team is tradable, including Tatum and Brown. 2 all-stars that don't make anyone else better. I'm not going to lie. We defended this point like, oh, they were becoming good passers and whatnot. Not so much lately, but I will give it a little bit of leeway in the terms of who they're passing to, right? Like Jason Tatum kicking to the corner for a Grant Williams 3. That just can't be the move, right? Like, I'm not knocking Tatum for that. But in terms of the ISO ball, that's when they're not even passing. That's what drives me nuts. And if one thing we want to talk about, Evan Fournier, we didn't mention him in the box score. 6 points from him. He was 3 of 6 from the field. A couple missed bunnies, missed a foul shot. 6 points from him. I look at that and I'm like, what the heck did we trade? And I know it's only his second game, so I'm not going to get too mad. But he's just not even involved, and he's out there for long stretches of time. Like, this guy has now played over 30 minutes in both games, and I feel like the Celtics aren't even trying to get him involved. Now, again, I said it. It's 2 games, right? Who am I to be like, oh my God, this is bull, right? I'm vouching for Fournier in this case, where it's like, why did we go out there and trade for Fournier if you're not even going to pass him the ball? But it's 2 games. I'm not going to get my panties in a bunch, okay? But I did want to make that point that I feel like the ball just isn't moving, including to the new guy who's supposed to save this team. Isaiah saying 0 runs, 3s, and ISO. When a player gets to the rim, he passes the ball and shoot a 3. Why? It's the NBA. Drive and kick. And it drove me nuts. I tweeted it out, right? Someone asked Brad Stevens, whoever's on the broadcast at halftime, are you satisfied with the shot selection? And Brad Stevens' response was, yeah, no, we just got to make these shots. It's like, okay, I can see a little bit of, truth to that. We're satisfied with the shot selection, but how about 3.5 quarters into the game when you're not making your threes? Are you still even satisfied with an open 3? In my book, no, get to the hoop. So it's frustrating to see that, keep shooting. No. If you just keep shooting, and keep missing, you're going to keep losing real quick. I promise you that. Guys, we're going to skip it. This chat is flying. If I miss your chat, just go ahead and toss it in the chat again. Jimmy's saying, yes, Fournier needs smart attempts. 100%. Now, I'm hoping that this is because it's early in they're not early in the year, but early in Evan Fournier's Celtic tenure, right? But Evan Fournier, 6 shots, 2 threes. I could take half of Marcus Smart shots and half of Marcus Smart's threes. That means 6 shots for Fournier and, 3 or 4 threes coming his way. I would take that in a heartbeat, and I hope that that's the case come, playoff time, if the Celtics are there, come later in the season, I'll say, right? Because it's, and maybe I'm just, defending the guy with the same first name as me, right? But it's a little annoying to watch them trade for a guy and not even, almost ignore him. Because if he was involved like he was the first night, right? And he wasn't even fully involved, but he got 10 shots that night, missed them all, I get it, you don't want to go to him that much. Tonight, you might as well call Fournier the corner man. He would go over there, and there were times when he was open for a drive and kick too, and they just weren't looking at him, so I'm hoping that changes, and I'm willing to bet it will. Nick saying still way too many bad shot attempts. Yeah, so Marcus Smart, I hope you're talking about, the Celtics overall. Yeah, bad shot attempts all over the place. But Marcus Smart, again, if you missed it in the beginning of the stream, 6 shots that I considered good out of his 12. So 50% of his shots were good, meaning open threes, drive and kick situations where he made a good shot. He hit 50% of those. So 3 of 6 in good shots, 0 of 6 in bad shots. It's annoying. MT saying, how about that 19 from Tatum? Undoubtedly, he's the worst starter tonight. Yeah, the -19. Why is he so bad at layups? It's unbelievable. This is my thing, and I tweeted it out. Let me know what you guys think in the chat, because I don't know where to make out on this. One, you guys know I'm always sort of don't even put the refs in a position to decide the game, right? Win it, and then, if the refs are the difference between you winning by 20 and winning by 8, fine, as long as you won the game. I never want to say, the refs are the reason they lost, but to me, Tatum got hammered a bunch down low, but then there's also times where he just doesn't even get sniffed, and he wants the call. He'll make a dunk and throw his arms up to the ref, and to me, let me know what you think in the chat. Does that just weigh on the refs, and they're just like, screw this kid? It's annoying. I'm not going to call a foul for him. He just keeps waving his arms at me because he does it so damn much, and I don't know if that's hurting Tatum. So it's a two-sided thing, right? I want Tatum to get more calls because I think he deserves more calls. He's at that level in the league, and he definitely gets, compared to what something like, some of these stars in the league, Luka, for example, gets some of these brush calls. Tatum gets none of those, but at the same time, he just, bitches and moans to the ref. I don't know if he's digging himself a hole. Isaiah saying this team has 0 guts, no aggressiveness. Yeah, Ubi saying the refs are so bad they literally blew the first call of the game. I mean, I don't know if I've watched a basketball game where it took 3 opening tips to get the game going. Even the players were like, whoa. I think Jaylen Brown walked over to the ref too and was like, you a little nervous, pal? That was bad. Here we go. Here's my my teleprompter. Shout out to you guys in the chat for keeping me honest here. Donovan saying, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified after a dub so we can hear that victory song. Guys, that victory song needs to come back. It's been a couple games. If you don't know what we're talking about, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Periscope, fun fact, as of tomorrow, no more Periscope. So make sure you're getting your butt over to YouTube and subscribing there because Twitter decided Periscope was going kaput. They don't want it anymore. So we're going to be doing the stream on YouTube, like we have been doing. So shout out to everyone that supported on YouTube. But if you aren't on YouTube yet and you're still watching on Periscope and still commenting on Periscope, be sure to head over to YouTube. Just search Guy Boston Sports or follow the link that I tweeted out and subscribe there. Mike saying Fournier needs more shots. There we go. Guys, I'm glad that's, I don't know, I haven't read the full chat so far, but I'm glad that's the vibe I'm getting because tonight, Fournier still didn't look great, but it wasn't his own doing. When he went 0 for 10, I was kind of like, oh crap, right? But tonight he was just being straight up ignored, and that's not my honest take. Kane saying they suck. Take care, guys, and like the show. I'm out. Oh, Kane, come on. You can at least you can vent to me, right? Jordan saying, why is Brad allowed a 24-second ISO for Tatum, who can't even get past a big man? I don't know. And that's what drove me nuts. When they interview Brad, and Brad says something to the national media, or not national media, but the national broadcast, and he says stuff like, oh, I don't like the ISO ball. We need to change that. Or, I like the shot selection we're doing. And that ISO ball is a big one. He said it multiple times when they ask him about it. If he doesn't like it, and he's willing to tell millions and millions of people via TV, why don't you tell the, 3 or 4 guys that are doing it on your team? Say, no more. You do that, you're going to sit your ass on the bench. Because guess what? A coach can do that. A coach can control who sits and who plays. So it's a little frustrating that, he'll say to me, watching the fan, yeah, no, we got to cut that ISO ball out, right? And then he's watching Tatum ISO, brick a shot, complain to the ref, and then he goes, good shot, Tatum. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Oh, don't look at me. Assistant coaches, anything back up here? It just frustrates me, man. It's so annoying because, like I said, if he wasn't saying anything, that's one point. But for him to look the camera in the eyes and tell millions of people, hey, no more ISO ball, we can't do that, and then to see 2 more quarters of ISO ball, it's like, well, you told us. Were you going to tell your team? Because that's just frustrating. It is. And I think we can all agree in that. Let's see. Ryan's saying Steven needs to put these players in places to succeed. Yeah. Abdul's saying, you can't blame them for not passing the ball when your bench is about Grant, Draymond, Mo, and Edwards. Hey, that's fair. That's fair. But what about Fournier now? Now we have a guy. And how about this? Jason Tatum passing to Jaylen Brown. I get it. Like I said, Tatum can't pass to Grant Williams and expect the 3, right? But they don't even pass to each other that much. Like, Kemba Walker is becoming one of the better sort of facilitators on the team. Kemba Walker. He averaged 48 shots a game in Charlotte. It's tough. Ron's saying it's all on Brad. Guys, I'm skipping ahead just a little bit here. Ramsey saying Tatum and Brown are above average drivers and don't drive enough. How about this? And it's a good point, so I'm not going to take credit for it. I think we all are thinking it. For a team that has really good drivers, they really don't drive that much, right? But for a team that isn't that great at shooting, they shoot a whole heck of a lot. Like, what? How does that even make sense? So frustrating. Guys, we're so behind on chat. We are going to skip ahead a little bit. Abdul saying Fournier should start over Smart. Steven says he should absolutely not start over Smart. I'm in on start Fournier. Not due to anything that he's deserved so far. So there I can agree on Steven. But in terms of, they traded for Fournier. He's supposed to be a big part of this team. Him playing 30 minutes as a background dancer isn't doing it for me. And Marcus Smart at the same time also lately isn't doing it for me. So that's where, I get to this point of, and I've said it before, I think Fournier is a starting player. Right now, do you throw him into the fire? I don't know if he's fully mixed in yet, right? So I want him to start. And that's why I say I kind of agree with Abdul and Steven here. I don't know if you throw the way Fournier is playing, 0 of 10 the first night, a timid 3 of 6 tonight, whether it's his fault or not. I don't know if that's a starter yet. By season's end or by, season's end, I guess at the end of games and clutch time and crunch time, whatever you want to call it, I think Fournier should be playing a lot more than he is. I don't know. Wayne's saying you got to change it, Brad, if he's going to say that. Miles saying, yeah, Smart over Fournier. Guys, I think I am, who said it? Was it Abdul? I think I am totally in the, and this is I already made up my mind pre-Fournier playing, right? Before I saw the 0 of 10, before I saw the 3 of 6 timidness tonight. I want Fournier to start because, 1, I think he's a startable player, 100%. 2, I think Marcus Smart is an amazing guy off the bench. At the same time, I just kind of said this too. If Fournier is playing those starter minutes down the stretch, same with Smart, if they can figure it out, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? As long as he's playing when it matters, I just don't want Fournier. I guess this is best way I'll sum it up, right? And everyone's probably going to agree with this. I don't want Fournier fading into the abyss as a non-used bench player. For the ability that he has, I don't want Brad Stevens to absolutely F him up and have him fade into the abyss slowly. So that's where I'm at with it. I want him to start, but I'm also not going to call you guys out for saying, Smart over Fournier. I'm not going to call you out and say it wrong. It's literally just like an agree to disagree thing in my mind because I do want him to start. I just want, him to make sure that he at least has an established green light sort of role on this team. Isaiah saying Brad should absolutely be fired. All right, I know we keep getting, I know we keep getting, and I see in the chat too, like, how is Brad a good coach? I know we keep getting behind in the chat, but I think this is a good point to at least give you, and you guys have probably heard it before if you tune in every night. My Brad take is, and it has been for a while, I should say my Brad take was, right? We can't fire Brad Stevens because who would you hire instead, right? That's the age-old sort of go-to counter. But based on what we've seen out of Brad Stevens recently, that who would replace him, that's losing its, like, you know, pizzazz. Like, who the hell cares who replaces him at this point? Because what he's doing, and just, you know, what we've seen, I'm just judging off results here, right? What he's doing hasn't been anything special. Hasn't been anything that, you know, any coaching candidate that you could find that it has a legitimate resume, hasn't been anything that guy can't do. So I'm still not on. I am so close to that, you know, 100% fire Brad Stevens, right? I'm probably at like 78% right now in terms of my barometer of, you know, fire Brad, don't fire Brad. I'm getting there. I'm not there yet, but I can't even revert back to the, well, who's out there that would replace him? Like, I could replace Brad Stevens at this point. You could replace Brad Stevens at this point. So I'm not there on fire him yet, but we all can agree that's sort of the like, oh, well, who's going to replace him? You can't just pull Joe Schmo off the street to replace him. That's losing its pizzazz because Joe Schmo's looking pretty damn good right now. But it's annoying. It's so annoying to watch to watch these games and think, okay, well, they made a trade at the deadline, right? They shook things up in terms of personnel. Maybe not as much as we wanted, but they shook things up in terms of personnel, and it hasn't paid like an immediate result yet. So then what's the next thing to be shaken up? And I've always said Brad Stevens will go before Danny Ainge. I truly believe that. So I'm not there yet, but we'll see. Greg says, Smart blows. Most frustrating player in the Celtics. He gets me so angry. Yeah, and to me, it's like, and I've said it in streams before, he's having an off year. But I don't know, maybe it's just the Celtics bias in me that is willing to weigh what Smart has done on the positive end over the years for the Celtics more than what he's done this year. But again, I still even go back to, you know, if you put this season in a nutshell, Marcus Smart's good for, and not as of late, I'll give you guys that, but, you know, back when people were crapping on him before the injury and whatnot, Marcus Smart's good for 45 minutes of the game. And then all of a sudden, he is god-awful and almost loses the game himself in the last 3 minutes of the game, and now he's earned that bad rap, but it's tough. Ian saying he's done with them. Absolute joke. The effort, the roster, the coach, all of them. Whole organization been a real down year at this point. I'm just waiting for the offseason. This team blows. It does. It's blows. Nick is saying they need a coach to come in and tell them to shut the hell up. Wayne saying Fournier looked timid, though. He did look 100% timid. Steven saying Smart's the toughest player on this team. I don't want to get rid of Smart. I'm willing to ride out Smart, you know, and him be a career-long Celtic, hopefully take some sort of a team-friendly deal if he, you know, because he's up at the end of this year or next year, right? I think you got to realize, to anyone saying Smart sucks, you have to realize some of the stuff he does, he looks like he sucks, because Marcus Smart thinks he's a good shooter, he's not a good shooter. Marcus Smart thinks he's this crafty finisher around the rim. I'll give him a little bit of credit there, he is, but he's not this finisher around the rim. But what Marcus Smart does outside of trying to score the ball is, you know, immeasurable. It's crazy. So I think everyone can probably get on the same page in terms of, hey, we all hate that pull-up contested three, right? We hate it. But you got to give, Marcus Smart just doesn't suck. You know what I mean? Like, we got to give him credit where it's. Did you see him multiple times tonight check Luka for like 24 straight seconds? Luka had the ball like 1 second into the shot clock, dribbled it around. Marcus Smart covered him until a shot clock violation. There's probably like one guy in the league that can do that, and his name's Marcus Smart. So I want to give Marcus Smart credit, even though he's had a tough year. Like, I can acknowledge how crappy he's been this year, especially late in games, but we got to give him a little bit of credit, don't we? Don't we? Skipping ahead in the chat again. Tiffany saying Brad needs to go. They need a fresh voice, and that's the thing. That's the thing. Ready? It's like, even if you believe in Brad Stevens and whatnot, what's a guaranteed way to shake up the team? You fire the coach. And I can't argue that, right? Like, that's going to shake up the team. But like I said, I'm not there yet. I still gotta, like, I doubt I'll get there by the end of this season. Like, it's gonna be tough for me to want to fire Brad Stevens, but when we started doing these streams at the beginning of the year and the Brad Stevens hate started, I was like, come on, guys, you are crazy. Now I'm at the point where, well, you know what? You might not be wrong. Like, it's not like Brad Stevens is doing anything that tells me that's a championship coach right now. Ubi says the only plus is the last 2 games that they fight back and show effort in the fourth, which I mean, I love, but I hate. I hate that this team has me so down, so like, screw this team, and then all of a sudden it's like, no. Ev, don't think too fast. You love this team, and we're going to show you. We're going to get you so excited in these last couple minutes just to show you that you don't give up on this team, that you love this team, only to say, haha, just kidding, here, drop the glass and break it. It's frustrating, but you say that they come back and forth. That's a good thing. Where's that effort the rest of the game? A top 4 seed if they show that effort consistently. The Celtics look unbelievable at times in games. They just can't do that consistently. Greg says, Brad has been the most overrated coach in the last 3 or 4 years. It's pretty easy to see a guy can't go to the finals and can be replaced and it wouldn't matter. So here's the thing, too. And this is what I want the Brad Stevens true stans and fans to come out here and tell me. What's Brad Stevens gotten better at in the last... We'll use, Greg, your timeline there. What has Brad Stevens gotten better at in the last 3 to 4 years? Now, that's a tough question. I understand that. That's not like, oh, well, name another coach. What has he got better at? Nick Nurse, he's gotten better at a whole hell of a lot. The guy was just a barker when he took over, and he ended up, working his way up in that Coach of the Year conversation, winning, and now he's become a true, like, coach, rotational, taking timeouts when you need to. All these things that I wish Brad Stevens had a little bit of. Taking timeouts when you need to, barking at the refs. Now, I don't want Brad Stevens to go full board Nick Nurse, because I think that's a lunatic right there. But if you gave 2% of Nick Nurse's sort of love and feel for the game, like he said in that playoff series last year, Nick Nurse says, I'm in the game just as much as the players are. Brad Stevens, I don't think he believes that. Brad Stevens, I feel like, thinks there's a computer screen between him and the game, because he just doesn't seem as engaged as a lot of coaches around the league. And I get it. That's his style. But I hate to break it to a lot of people here, his style hasn't been working as of late. So if you had a little bit of fire, a little bit of Nick Nurse, maybe give some of the Doc Rivers traits to Brad Stevens, all of a sudden you're looking at a guy that can do the X's and O's, can keep that calm, cool demeanor, but when it matters, boom, insert yourself in the game. Bill Belichick, to all you Patriots fans or NFL fans. Guy, literally, you can look at him for 90% of the football game and say, I have no clue what that dude is thinking. But if he thinks something went wrong, or the refs screwed him, or screwed his team, or something like that, that's a whole different Bill Belichick, and I wish Brad had a little bit of that. Like, if Tatum gets fouled, Brad Stevens should be the one chirping the refs. Stan Van Gundy did it against the Pelicans. Literally, he chirped at the refs for like 20 seconds, and they just reversed the call. I forget when it was, but it happens. It's just, I wish he had a little bit of that in him. Brad is firing up the chat right now because there's literally, guys, literally people that say fire Brad or not fire Brad. Can some people get on my page and get a little bit in between here? Come on, I need to build this sort of in between army. All right, Ubi says 39 people are watching, 21 likes. What is this? Guys, come on. The Celtics don't play their A game, but you as the chat brought your A game. I know that for damn sure. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. There's 38 people, 39 people, 40 people watching the stream right now, and we have half as many likes. Don't make me hit the Grant Womp Womp. Hit the... Blew your chance. Hit the damn like button. We're here live after every single Celtics game, whether we're bitching and moaning, whether you agree or disagree with what I'm saying. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit that notification bell so you can jump in here during the victory song when the Celtics team wins. If you hit the like button, I promise the Celtics will win next game. Maybe. Ubi says, fire Brad, hire Ev. Get that trending on Twitter. Fire Brad, hire Ev. Isaiah is saying a Walmart cashier could replace Brad at this point. Oh, man. Isaiah is saying, hire Isaiah Thomas. Terry says, fine, I'll accept the head coaching position. You're welcome. Get Terry in here. Get Terry in here. Let him coach the Celtics. Greg says, because the heart and soul of the Celtics means so much, people think that no matter... For Smart, he has brought them to the finals, being the heart and soul of our team. He is the heart and soul of our team, though, Greg. Like, no matter where you bring them, I think this team, as bad as they've been, I think that they could be a lot worse without Smart. And plus, I really don't know what you're getting for Smart in return. I'm going to be completely honest. What Marcus Smart brings to the Celtics off the floor, teams aren't trading for that off the floor stuff. That's not going to happen. So I feel like I haven't really even brought that up on many of these streams before either. Like Marcus Smart, what you would get, I don't think you're getting anything that's even comparable, whether you like or love or dislike or hate Marcus Smart. Like, you would trade Marcus Smart essentially to get him off the team. I don't believe there's any true value coming in from Marcus Smart. And that's not a slight towards him. I think it's that a team's not going to trade for the dirt dog and give up a lot. Like, you're not going to get a scorer that's the equivalent of the Marcus Smart hustle. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm way off, but that's where I'm at. Steven says if they fire Brad, who do they hire? That's kind of the point, though. I don't know if I care. Jordan says 25 points on 24 shots. Yeah. Isaiah says, deal Brad in a bag of chips for Walmart. Jason says, guys, if you look at this long to realize Brad needs to... It took you all this long to realize Brad needs to go. I didn't like Brad in the bubble. Ubi says Brad has gotten better, but letting us Celtics fans down. Kale saying, let's get 5 more likes. Let's get 1 million more likes. What do we got here? So we got 30 plus people in the stream and only 27 likes. Looks like that means about 8 of you guys hate me, which is sad. Sad that I'm on here after a Celtics loss, doing my best to lift the spirits by talking about firing and trading players, and you guys can't like the stream. Miles says I'm the dad joke king. Or is Brad Stevens? Damn, if I don't even know if you're saying I'm the dad joke king or Brad Stevens is, now I gotta check myself. MT saying Brad thinks he's playing 2K with his ISO and 3-ball offense. Hey, true story. And I know this for a fact. Now, it has to do a lot when injuries are there, but Brad Stevens... I can't believe, and we talked about this on Tommy Points, my podcast. Go check it out on YouTube. I do it with Riley Color of Color Sports. You guys probably know him on Twitter. And then Dante Turo, Dante on Deck on Twitter. We uncovered that Brad Stevens literally runs simulations, not in 2K, but simulations to develop starting lineups and rotations. Now, I was like, okay, a lot of coaches probably do that. Looked even more and more into it. It ain't that common. Brad Stevens is in the minority on how much he runs rotations and figures out who should start when and whatnot. That's a guy telling that it might be next level. Like, maybe he's ahead of his time, right? But that's a guy that just isn't seeing what's in front of him. Like, these Grant Williams starter minutes or starting games, it's like that tells me, okay, the rotation told him to start. But then you watch him, and it's like, whoa, that simulator must have been broken or something. What are you working on, Windows 92? Like, jeez. But, yeah, it's true. Nick says, I would love to fire Brad. Like, who you said, who do you bring in? Guys, I'm saying it. Who... You don't know, and I'm not, these get clipped out of context, you guys send them to me. I'm not in the fire Brad camp, but the whole who are you going to bring in is losing its steam because Brad's doing nothing superb lately. Now, I think he has it in him, but it's just annoying. And I'll say, I feel like I always repeat myself, but for the new people in the stream, one, hit the subscribe button, little slur there. Swear to God, this is just normal Guinness, nothing's in there. One, hit that subscribe button. 2, this is a great point that I'm about to make, so listen up. Brad Stevens is a coach, but he's essentially an asset to this team, right? If we harp on Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum to get better and better and better, I want the same expectation out of the coach. Especially, and I hate that we can even still be, he's a young prodigy. He's not anymore. He's been in the league plenty, but why can't that guy, why do I have to get, crucified on Twitter when I say I want Brad Stevens to get better? Oh, but the players have to play. Yeah, no kidding. The players have to play, and the coach has to coach. It goes both ways. Tiffany's saying, if I am a Brad fan, but the last game since All-Star break, he has no emotion. And that's the thing. It's like no emotion. No emotion is fine for most of the time, but I want to be able to look. The whole saying of, wow, you can't tell if he's up 30 or down 30 points. I hate that. The fact that has a sort of positive correlation. Like, look at his demeanor. You can't tell if he's up 30 points or down 30 points. That's great if you are the one that's up 30 points. Hooray! Hooray! You can not tell that you're up 30 points, you're a humble dude. But if you're down 30 points and you cannot tell by your face that you're down 30 points, now I think you got a problem. Because you should 1,000,000% be able to tell that. So a little annoying there. Greg says, heart and soul doesn't win them games. I just think Celtics fans think way too high of him, and he can't do wrong and doesn't deserve blame. I think this, if Marcus Smart is the heart and soul, right? I think that you build other guys around the team. I'm not saying focus and build around Marcus Smart, but having him on the team is only going to pay positives, results if they have a better team built too. Ubi saying, you say we were better with Smart, but we were in a 4-game win streak before he got back. Not the worst counter. Miles says Scal is the king. I do like Scal, but I went on a Scal rant last episode, right? And I said exactly what I don't like about Scal. He's frustrating to listen to when he loses. He's a know-it-all. He bullshits you. He thinks, he makes the viewer feel as if he's watched this one player every single game, right? And that frustrates me. But I keep going back to it. We don't have to get into this stream. You go around the league, you watch some of these streams or broadcasts of other color guys in the game. No one compares to Mike Gorman play-by-play, but for the color commentators, it's sad, but there are some nobodies out there that are just like, what are you talking about? Like, you'll listen to some guys be like, oh, and like Tatum hits a 3, if these are two different guys. Tatum hits a 3. Yeah, and you're gonna get a hot dog over there in the parking lot. It's like, what the hell's this dude talking about? Is the color commentator watching the game? So as much as Scal drives us nuts, somehow, some way, he's head and shoulders above a lot of the guys out there. Terry says he'll take the coaching job if he gets a 12-pack and he signs a 10-year extension. Okay, 10-year extension at a 12-pack a year. Terry, you taking that? Lance says, before the All-Star break, I had so much hope for the weekend because we stand 18-20 then, won 4 in a row. Now we're looking more and more like the Rockets. Almost just as frustrating as the Rockets, right? Isaiah says, if you make it to the finals the first 2 years, you get 24 in the 15-year extension. Hey, Terry could be the next coach. Terry Collins sounds like a Celtics coach's name. I don't know. I'll give you that. Red says, you read my comment wrong, but I said Brad got better at letting the Celtics fans down. My bad, Ubi, but you're correct there, and I read it right this time. Dean says, NBA players don't care about the coach. Come on now. Hey, this is where you're wrong, Dean. More often than not, NBA players don't care about the coach. It's a players' league. I give you that. How about when your two best players are 24 and 23 years old? Those guys need a coach. So more often than not, you are 100. You're 1,000% correct that this is a players' league. They don't need a coach to tell them what to do. But when a team is so lost like this one, being led by a 24 and 23-year-old, that's when they need a coach to tell them what to do. And I will not listen to anyone say if they had, Doc or Greg Popovich or anything like that, they wouldn't, have more of a direction or seemingly, be able to view that light at the end of the tunnel. I think that they have no authority figure, and it's almost like that point's proven correctly when Tatum went on JJ Redick's podcast. I brought it up multiple times on the stream. And he just says, no, Brad's not a motivator. He doesn't tell us what to do and not to do. Coach K did that in college, but Brad is more of an X's and O's guy. That was the quote. No context needed. It shows what Tatum thinks of Brad, and that's great if Tatum is an established leader, if Brown's an established leader. Give them the X's and O's guys that doesn't need to get their, ass on fire. I love it. But maybe that Brad Stevens coaching style just isn't lining up with what we have in leadership on this team. Because if you can't get your players to lead, there's only one other answer for who needs to lead, and it's the coach. Terry says, Evan and I can split the head coach role. I'll run the simulations. Ubi saying, obviously that isn't the main factor, but I think having everyone in and out of the lineup is also a factor. Yeah, and I said this last stream too, right? I get it. This team's never healthy, and no Rob tonight, right? This team's never healthy. I get it. But who are we as Celtics fans to be like, oh yeah, they'll be healthy soon? Like, when are we going to see that? So from this point moving forward, I'm not judging it in terms of, when they're healthy, they're going to be good, because I haven't seen a healthy Celtics team in like 3 years, 4 years. So I'm losing hope in the terms of like, oh, no, when they're healthy, they'll be good. It's a true statement. I give you that. But I'm over like the waiting for it. You know what I mean? Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I see we hit over 30 live likes. So shout out to you guys, but there's still more people watching than have liked the stream. So I guess I do have some people that just truly hate me and don't appreciate that we're on here live after every single Celtics game, win or lose. But hey, you guys can change that right now. Just hit that like button if you're watching. MT says, look, guys, it's not just Brad. All of his assistants are just as bad, if not worse. If you fire Stevens, then Larinaga takes over and it's pretty awful. Yeah, no, I don't even want to, fire Brad for starters. But the one thing I said earlier, and the only reason I'd even think about it, that leads to a shakeup, which this team needs some sort of a shakeup, right? It isn't really as much, we talked X's and O's with Brad. In terms of, the schematic of this season and the future of the Celtics, it isn't even as calculated as fire Brad because of this, get a head coach to improve this, I'm just hoping if that were to happen, it's for a shakeup. And Jay Laternega taking over. The guy has zero head coaching experience. He texts Scal at halftime because Scal, ceases to let us know that every single game. Yeah, I was texting assistant coach Jay Laternega, but it's true. Like as much as I play the card of who replaces him, who cares, it could be a lot worse. So that's probably why what did I say? I was at 78%. I'll call it 3/4 of the way there in terms of firing Brad. I'm not there yet. I could be though. Steven saying we need a homer color guy. We'll never get another Tommy. R.I.P. man. Gabe is saying Romeo is dead. I don't know if Romeo exists. And how about this? Romeo was like questionable tonight, right? And then Brad Stevens had the quote pregame of he's not playing tonight. His legs felt like jelly. It's like, no kidding. I picture Romeo Langford has been in a hospital bed for the last 2.5 years. Like, no kidding. His legs feel like jelly. The guy hasn't been outside of his bed in forever. Like, it's that. I don't know what to expect from Romeo. I envy the people that are in the comments here and chat every single night being like, Romeo's going to come back and help this team. It's like, I envy those people. I wish I was one of the people that truly believed in Romeo. I just don't right now. It's not that I don't, I don't not believe in him, but I don't just like rah believe in Romeo. Nick saying, over the last 2 years, we've had a better record without Smart than with him. If his style of play doesn't help us win. I didn't know that. I mean, if that's a stat, that's a stat. Give you credit there, Nick. I mean, how can you argue that? Better record with, how much of a sample size is that, though? Because other than this Achilles or calf, whatever it was with Smart this year, how many games has he missed in the last couple of years, right? Outside of this injury. Abdul saying, do you remember the 2017-2018 season? No coach voted for him for coach of the year. And then, but then I think he got a plethora of votes a couple years later. Greg says, I love that we go 8 of 36 on threes and we're down 8 with like 4 minutes and keep shooting. Don't even try to drive. This team thinks they're prime warriors with all of these threes. Yeah. It's like Marcus Smart thinks he's Steph Curry, right? Now Cornette's been pretty good for us. He thinks he's Klay Thompson all of a sudden. It's annoying. Brad saying, when the network has sound / camera in the huddle and timeout, Stevens is not a great motivator, boring, redundant. He doesn't yell at the guys, gets them pumped up like Doc used to. And I believe with a young team, that is something that's so valuable. Get your guys going, point them in the right direction. You lead, they follow, that type of thing. And what's frustrating too, to your point, when they do the huddle, I mean, Brad Stevens, stay in the moment. I'm seeing a lot of good stuff out there. What's another one that he always goes to? One play at a time. It's like, no, none of these are working. In fact, Jason Tatum probably heard this on his 4th grade travel or AAU team. You tell me one play at a time, coach? Come on. It's like, but again, and it's been in the chat before. I don't know if I believe in this, but it's been in the chat before. People are like, oh, well, he's mic'd up. What do you expect him to rip into his players? And it's like, well, no. But you see Doc Rivers, you see Nick Nurse, you see Snyder over in Utah. Like, they do it. Like, they'll rip into their players, mic'd up or not mic'd up. So how about a little bit of that? And here's the only reason I'm so hard on Brad Stevens, too. Really weird. This is going to show how, like, loser of a Celtics fanatic I am, which you guys are probably in the same boat. I want to say Thanksgiving Eve, 3 years ago maybe, Brad Stevens, they were playing the Knicks. Jason Tatum was stinking. Maybe it was Jaylen Brown. I said I was going to be a huge Celtics fanatic here. Now the details are getting hazy. I probably had a couple too many of waters that night. But Brad Stevens lit up. He took him out of the game. It was Jason Tatum for the sake of the story, right? It might have been Jaylen Brown. Lit him up. They showed it on camera. He's yelling at Jason Tatum, sits him on the bench. Come 4th quarter, he goes back into the game and lights it up. Some guys can respond to that. Especially if you're a young player, you can say, okay, you know what? I got to respect that dude. And I don't know if Brad Stevens has the respect. All Sports is saying, look at our roster. We have guys like Luke Cornett and Grant Williams getting major minutes. Our roster's a problem, not the coaching. So maybe when games like this come around, right? I've said that over and over, and this is how I counter that, All Sports. How about being able to beat the Knicks? How about being able to beat the Wizards, Pistons, Pelicans? You have a roster that's good enough to beat those teams. So while I give Danny Ainge sort of, I'm not giving him the free pass, I should say. He has a lot of the blame here when you lose to teams like a Mavericks team that's seemingly turned it around, or lose to good teams, the Bucks, the Nets, right? I get it. Your roster's not good enough to get over the top. But I can't hear out this team isn't good enough to not lose to the Knicks by 30, blow a 20-plus point lead to the Pelicans, lose to the Wizards, the Pistons, the Grizzlies. You know what I'm saying? So while you're right that, this roster is far from being finished, you eliminate half of these losses against legit, sub 400 teams. You're looking at a whole different ball club and a whole different sort of outlook on the season. You're not ragging on Brad Stevens. You're not even ragging on the players because they have a decent record. But this roster is good enough to win a lot of those games, and they haven't done that. Terry's going to update his Twitter bio to future head coach. Miles says Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson, one thing that I was texting some buddies about is the Warriors kind of went through this. They had Mark Jackson, who put the team together, was, the coach of the future, built the Warriors up, and then they were boom, got Steve Kerr in, and then they started winning. Is Brad Stevens the Warriors' Mark Jackson, and who's going to be their Steve Kerr if that's the case? Let me ask you guys that want to fire Brad. Greg says, I'd take Jackson, kids and Patrick Ewing, Jason Kidd and Patrick Ewing over Brad any day to try it. I would do that too, honestly. Gabe says, don't you mean when our team led by 24 and a 19-year-old? Lan says, if I'm able to here, you better hit the like button. Yeah, so Lan is watching at 4:41, people. 4:41. And the people that are watching in real time, around 11 o'clock or wherever you're from, if you're over here in the States, you guys can't hit the like button? Come on now. Steven saying, I'm skipping ahead just a little bit to keep recent here. Steven says Romeo's the next James Young. At this point, guys, James Young showed more than Romeo. Romeo hasn't shown us squat. I am willing to give him the chance, but I tweeted it out. If you go find it on my Twitter if you guys want to respond to it, because honestly, it got 200 responses way too quick on Sunday, I want to think, or Saturday. So I was oh boy, I don't know if I can even keep up with this. So I didn't see all the responses, but I tweeted out, who's one Celtics player that you thought was going to be nasty? Unbelievable here. That just was terrible. A lot of the responses, mine were James Young, and then I think, my second response is Bill Walker. Do you guys remember Bill Walker? But then there's so many responses. Go check out that tweet if you guys could find it. Donovan saying, Jaylen Brown, the Celtics basketball is about scrapping, getting after it. Defensively, 1 through 5, we haven't had that in the starting unit or off the bench as a team. We haven't had it. Here we go. Buck is saying it was Tatum. So against, is that fact checking? Was it Tatum against the Knicks? I knew I was there at some point. Buzzer saying, do you think DeMarcus Cousins would help the Celtics? I think I can't guarantee that he would have helped the Celtics, Buzzer. What I can guarantee that it wouldn't have hurt the Celtics. Why not take the flyer on him? And I think is he going to the Clippers? So we saw the Nets, Clippers, and Lakers. The top 3 teams in the league, you might want to even say, got better or took what I kept saying, took that low risk possible reward scenario and signed LaMarcus Aldridge, signed Andre Drummond, and signed DeMarcus Cousins. The Celtics didn't do it. Now, again, it's the player's choice, so maybe they don't want to come here. But I think it would have been worth a flyer is what I'm saying. Ray says, we have sunken into the abyss of basketball garbage. I'm in awe. It's time you start fire, Brad, with the rest of us. Stop hanging on to him by a thread. I am hanging on by a thread. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie, Ray. I'm hanging on to that thread. Brad is saying, the team of 4 years ago I loved didn't want to trade anyone. They were grinders and gritty. I'm not attached to any of the players of this team. Just sad. That's funny. That's not the right word. That's crazy, too, is that those Isaiah Thomas years, right? Same results. Eastern Conference Finals, boom. And what sucks, and I was talking to this, I think on the phone with my dad a couple weeks ago. Think about how the Isaiah Thomas trade went down with Kyrie and whatnot. You never, ever, ever, and still haven't gotten better from that trade. It sucked. It's crazy. Now, I'm not saying Isaiah was going to be what he was. Obviously, he had the injuries and whatnot, but that was a monumental moment in terms of, culture and value on this team and whatnot. You traded Isaiah for Kyrie and you just got to the same place, if not worse, each and every year. Is sad. And then you look at Colin Sexton in Cleveland, who was that pick you traded in that trade, and he's killing it. So it's revisionist history, hindsight 2020. I totally get that, but it's just worth noting that you made this massive, massive, massive blockbuster to get no further. Right on cue. Nick says, bring back Isaiah Thomas. Abdul says, what do you think about signing Austin Rivers, Hollis Jefferson, cut Tremont Waters, and Edwards? I take both over both. Take both of those guys over both. Terry says, I think I'm starting to like Celtics fans more than Bulls fans. Y'all's are the funniest fans ever. I mean that nicely. Love the fire in all of you. Appreciate that. MT saying, would it be bad at this point to lower the Tatum and Brown minutes to 25 and 30 and roll with a lot of young guys and see if chemistry can be built? I don't know about 25 minutes, but them playing 40 minutes a night isn't getting it done. So I honestly wouldn't be opposed to tapering back their minutes. Think about this. You taper back each of their minutes, 2.5 minutes, right? You can now give Pritchard plays a decent amount, but you could throw a flyer extra 5 minutes at Neesmith and stuff like that. I'm not opposed to that. If the season is like chalked, right? If this season's not going anywhere, then, I mean, it's not a bad point, Abdul. That isn't how you progress and get to being a championship caliber team. But if we're throwing that out the window or throwing a strong contending playoff team out the window, I might be all in on that just to see. Kale says, clips on a 10-day though. Yeah. And that's the thing, it's like these guys, I think Drummond out of the bunch in LaMarcus. So I guess, DeMarcus is in a different category. These guys probably aren't going to like make the biggest difference on their team, but the flyer that the better teams in the league are taking, it's like, that's a recipe for good teams to do. Oh, can the rich get richer? But the Celtics aren't in that boat. Now, buyout markets and signing players is a little bit different because the player has the ultimate say. But when easy names were floated around for second-round picks during the trade deadline and whatnot, and the Celtics weren't like even in on some of these, that's where the annoyingness is. Late in the stream, and I'm still behind on chat. How am I doing? Am I okay in chat? Like, are you guys asking your comment, and then I'm like 10 minutes behind? I can't even tell at this point. Miles is saying, we played hard with IT. This team doesn't play hard. Jan saying, Grant Williams had 5 rebounds and 3 points in 23 minutes. So sad. Taco gets that in like 3 minutes. Hey, we're getting to the point where it's like, screw it. Why not give Taco minutes? What do you have to lose? Right? Like, if you're working your way out of the playoffs already, might as well play the 9-foot-tall guy. Abdul saying Bradley and Crowder and Smart Man. Steven saying Brad Beal for Jalen. Len saying, could you... I mean, Lan says, could you... I'm gonna give my best here, right? Lan says, could you say... Eichhornchen? Eichhornchen. I'll womp myself. I don't know what the hell that is. Donovan saying, hope we can pick up Beal or Cat in the offseason. That'd be incredible. Land says Beal's a free agent. I still believe, like, I am the front runner in terms of believing that when Kemba's contract's up, somehow, some way, he's not going to pick up the player option, and then Bradley Beal's a free agent at the same time, and then boom, Bradley Beal's a Celtic. Will it happen? I don't know. Miles says Tatum needs to check his ego. Terry saying Lonzo for Smart should have been a trade push by the Celtics. Lonzo's stock was down, and his passing would really help this team, and he can D up almost as well as Smart. Maybe. I mean, I don't know if I'd give Lonzo that much credit. Is Lonzo... Like, I would take Lonzo on this team, but it's not for trading for Kemba or not for getting him for Smart. Like, I see it, Terry. I see where the trade comes from, but he isn't as... He's not... Maybe this year, sure, we can go, but Marcus Smart is, like... The thing with Smart, ready? Let me spell out what Marcus Smart is. As good of a defender, with Lonzo Ball, I'll put him there. But Lonzo Ball isn't a defensive playmaker like Marcus Smart is. There's not a single person in the league, and I honestly believe this. We haven't seen it much lately, so I admit that. But Marcus Smart is a defensive playmaker where he's on the defensive side of things, and he doesn't just lock up the guy that he's covering, which he can do. He all of a sudden just turns defensive possession into an offensive possession. And the example I always use in that no one's ever going to do that, as frequently as Smart as that, 3 years ago, maybe more than that, when they were losing to the Rockets with I don't know, I'm going to exaggerate here, but 10 seconds left. They're losing by 5, game over, right? Marcus Smart, before the ball's even inbounded to James Harden, draws an offensive foul. Next possession, before the ball's even inbounded, offensive foul, James Harden. Lonzo Ball's not doing that. So I like Lonzo. Like I've said before, I would take him... I would take that him on the team. I think that, a bigger guard, facilitating guard, I'd take it. But Marcus Smart does some amazing, crazy things, and he is getting shafted with the year he's having in terms of the fans' perception. I honestly believe that. But again, and I think Greg said it earlier, I don't think it's just like a Draymond Green in my mind. That guy's huge on a championship caliber team. You're not going to win having a Marcus Smart. But when you are a winning team, Marcus Smart puts you over the edge. Lance says it wasn't that bad. It means squirrel. Kale says Lonzo surprisingly gives us better shooting than Smart, though. I mean, I guess. Ubi says, I think a lot of players need an ego check. Nobody hustles. When a rebound is in the air, 4 to 5 Celtics are watching the ball. Kale knew what I was talking about with the Smart story. Guys, only a few more comments here. We gotta shut down shop for tonight pretty soon. Abdul saying, I hope they trade Kemba for Van Fleet in the offseason. Jan's saying that Williams playing over Taco is the saddest thing to see. I mean, anyone. Grant Williams playing over Taco is the saddest thing to see. Or, no, I should say Grant Williams playing over anyone, in my mind, is the saddest thing to see. But, all right, only a few more comments, so we're going to, what do we got? This is a big mug, too. That's a Guinness, about a little bit of it. We're just going to down this, because why not? Put us to bed early. We'll down this. Make sure to like the stream right now before we down it. I'll do it in a couple seconds, because, Chugmaster Ev out here. But only a few more comments, then we'll shut down shop. But here we go. Bye-bye. All right, we'll read a couple more here. Yeah, you guys loved that's one of the greatest Marcus Smart moments. Gotta clean up. Gotta look nice for the camera. I don't even know if I've had multiple sips of that. I don't know if those have been on there all stream, but hey, whatever. Steven says I would never trade Smart. Smart's like right near that untouchable category. I've said it before. The only way I would trade Smart is if it is for like a Karl Anthony, some white whale sort of trade, right? When it turns to like me or you, Steven, for this example, of being like the idiot in the room for not trading Smart for this amazing player, that's when I would say, okay, fine, get him. But Lonzo Ball for Marcus Smart, no, unless this trade moves the needle so much that it breaks the speedometer on the car, I'm not trading Smart. And if it's a homerism, if it's like, I love Smart and I'm biased, so be it. But that is the line I draw. If it's not an absolute blockbuster, I'm not going for it. All right, guys, last comment here. Lan says, guys, do you remember the good old days with the victory sound? We'll get back to that. Ubi says you should have a loss sound and make it the Kurt Angle theme song. We should. Should I get a sound drop for losses on here? Maybe at the same time we do this too. The minute the camera cuts in and the sound goes, we just go. Might be onto something. I don't know. Do I want to invest that much into a loss sound, or should I just assume the Celtics might win more games than they lose? I don't know. MT saying smash the like buttons, and ladies and gents, before we call it a night, I appreciate that. I mean, we'll get some victory streams here soon. I hope so, but we'll see. Isaiah says it's been 84 years since the victory sound. I mean, you guys are probably setting high expectations for any new people in the chat, because they're probably like what victory sound? Now they're expecting this extravagant, and maybe it is. Maybe I'm downplaying it. Maybe I'm doing my best to downplay it so people are entertained when it happens. But the victory song, the victory theme song that comes on, hopefully we get back to. But Kale says no, we should bask in the misery. I do like that. You probably look back on the YouTube channel of lost streams. I just start the stream. I'm like, all right, Celtics live post game. Because when they lose, that's truly when I'm gathering my thoughts real time. But, all right, guys, thank you very, very, very much for tuning in tonight. As always, even after a Celtics loss, I am leaving the stream with a smile on my face just because I had a blast. So hopefully you guys, and hopefully, if you've been here since day one, or, you're new tonight, hopefully you guys are leaving the stream with a smile on your face as well. So I appreciate everyone tuning in, but we'll catch you in the next one. I say it too often, but hopefully we're talking about a win that stream. We'll see. But yeah, hopefully you guys can hear the victory sound. Make sure to turn on the notifications so you're here in time for the victory sound. The victory sound starts in like the first minute of the stream. You got to get here early. So see you guys in the next stream. Hopefully, like I said, we're talking about a victory. But I'll catch you guys later.